For the Union Army, for the Army of the Potomac, if Confederates occupy that hill, if they can hold it, then the Union position below on Cemetery Ridge and on Houck's Ridge directly in front of them is untenable. It's as simple as that. At the last possible moment, about 1,300 Union soldiers, men from Maine, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, are rushed to the hill. They arrive no more than 15 minutes before the Confederates make their appearance. They position themselves on the southern face of the hill. The battle begins, and for the next 90 minutes, the fighting will rage. The hill will be bathed in smoke. The sound of rifle fire, one man described it as a giant sheet of canvas being torn in two, so continual was it. Blood will puddle and pool in the rocky crags of the hill. The dead, the dying would litter the slope. After 90 minutes, the sound of battle would die down. The smoke would clear, the battle was over, and the Union Army still controlled the hill. They still occupied the hill. That hill, we call it today Little Round Top. It's the most popular name for the hill, and again, it's the hill just down the slope from where we are right now. But the men that fought on the hill on July 2nd and survived, they didn't call it Little Round Top. They didn't know that name. They called it by about a dozen different names. They called it Granite Spur, Sugarloaf Mountain, Wolf Hill, Rocky Top Mountain, the Rocky Mountain. Only later on would the name Little Round Top really take hold. And the men that fought on the hill 152 years ago, and the men that survived, they didn't know something that we know today. We all know, at the end of the day, July 2nd, 1863, the battle for Little Round Top is over. There's no more major attacks that take place in the hill. But the men that fought there, they don't know that. What happened at the end of the battle for Charles Hazlett has gone down in history as one of kind of the great tragic legends, myths, moments of the Battle of Gettysburg. Hazlett was up on the hill maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour, when a good friend of his, a brigadier general named Stephen Weed, arrived on the hill. Weed was an artilleryman previously, but he commanded a brigade of infantry at the Battle of Gettysburg. He brought his brigade up to the top of the hill, and as Weed is surveying the battlefield, he's struck down, probably by a Confederate rifleman in the vicinity of Devil's Den. We don't know exactly, but it's a mortal wound. Weed is hit somewhere in the midsection of his body. He's apparently paralyzed from the waist down. And as he's hit, he falls in a pile on the summit of Little Round Top. And the first thing he does, according to this story, is he calls out for Charles Hazlett, his friend, who knew him prior to the battle. And so Hazlett is alerted. He rushes over. And as Charles Hazlett, this 24-year-old lieutenant, is leaning over the body of his friend, he turns his head to hear what might be Weed's dying words, when a Confederate bullet strikes Hazlett and kills him instantly. His dead body falls on top of that of his dying friend.